Hi, this is Chanda Rubin, and you're listening to Brothers on Tennis.
Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. And guess what, folks? We've got a fun one for you today. We decided that we wanted to bring a little bit of a discussion to you as it relates to two of our favorite tennis athletes out on the tour. And, we're just going to sit back, lay back, and have a fun little discussion, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. Bryce, what you think, man?
Well, I want to acknowledge that this whole idea came from one of our listeners. Shout out to you, Butter1224. In one of her comments to us, she stated that we should do an episode on two of her favorites, which happen to be two of our favorites, Gael Monfils and Wilfried Tsonga. So we made the decision, Isaac, about 2 or 3 weeks ago that we were going to, maybe even longer than that, maybe it was about a month ago, that we were going to do this. Right. And then the Chanda interview ended up coming up, and so we put that on the schedule, and we pushed this behind that. But we were very excited to talk about these two guys because they have to be still two of the most entertaining players on the tour.
Absolutely, man. I mean, these guys, like I said, we followed them, we've rooted for them. I mean, they are definitely folks that we enjoy watching their tennis and watching them compete. And, it's just, and I think that both of them have just really done some great things for not only people of color, but of course they are from France. So they've done some great things since, of course, Yannick Noah. I think that they've been holding the torch and carrying the torch in a really, really nice manner, bro.
I totally agree with that. As you and I were talking earlier, around this time or a little bit, maybe a few years earlier before they hit the scene, as an African American, I got really excited about Venus and Serena hitting the circuit. I mean, we had not had two African American women at the top of the game. We won't even talk about the fact that they were sisters. But we didn't have, most of the time we had like either Zena by herself and maybe Laurie McNeil in there as well. And then you had Chanda in the next generation and a few others. But while Venus and Serena were coming up, we definitely didn't have anybody from an American standpoint or an African American standpoint on the men's side. Right. But you had these two guys of African descent from France with Gael and Joe Willie. And so for me, and maybe it was the same for you, Isaac, they became the guys that I had this emotional connection to, that I rooted for in very much the same way I did Venus and Serena.
Absolutely. And Bryce, I want to make sure I throw something out here because we don't want anybody trolling us or giving us any shade. We are not hating on James Blake. We hate James Blake. James is a brother. He cool. He's all good. We follow James as well. But just in the context of Tsonga and Gael Monfils, it was just a different vibe when they came on the tour. And like I said, they're great guys, showmen. They're always, big old smiles on their faces and just always trying to do, great things, not only to win, but also to make the crowds enjoy what they're doing. So, want to just make sure we're not throwing any shade out there for those of you who are James Blake fans, because we are as well.
And we are James Blake fans. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, though, because we're Brothers on Tennis.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, though, when James first kind of hit the circuit, although James is African American, yes, I kind of had a little bit of a feel with James like I have with Madison Keys right now. African American, yes, didn't really feel as strong of a connection there, if you know what I mean. Now, James, I think that kind of connection with him grew over time. Okay. And I even think there was an awakening for James when those cops put him face down on that cement.
Well, yeah, that'll do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'll do it.
But yes, definitely we supported James as well. Good point, Isaac.
Yeah. So, but again, this episode is specific to Gael and to Joe Wilfried, so we will stay focused on them. And like I said, just they both have had some incredible careers, and I still feel like they've got a good bit left to do out there. Hopefully so. I mean, I know Joe Wilfried has been dealing with some injuries, and we know Monfils always got some type of an injury that's setting him down.
Exactly. See, that's what happens when you're too athletic.
Exactly.
Or at least your mind, you can imagine things that you're going to go for that you probably shouldn't.
Right. Exactly. But what's interesting, Bryce, just in comparing the two of them, what I will say is I think Tsonga's injuries, have been more, just, I don't know how you even want to put this. I feel like Gael could have possibly avoided some of his injuries if he had a different playing style. I think Tsonga's playing the way that he should play and the way it was designed. I think with Monfils, he's got so many damn options, defense, offense, power, running, overheads and doing all the fun, crazy stuff that I think he has injured himself by doing a lot of that instead of really sticking to this is my A game, and you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like some of it is a little bit on him. How do you feel about that, bro?
Well, and I don't have any statistics in front of me to kind of support what I'm getting ready to say, but when I look back on their playing days thus far, it feels like to me that Monfils has had these smaller injuries that's had him out, a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there, and then he comes back really quickly and whatever. Yeah. And I feel like Tsonga has had these longer term injuries where he's been out for like 6 months and 7 months. And I just have always felt that Tsonga's time away from the game due to injuries has always been a little more impactful to his career than Monfils has had. And maybe sometimes even with Monfils, maybe he didn't even take enough time off to fully recuperate. Yeah.
And also I would probably kind of say something as it relates to kind of their body type. I think that Gael is sort of that long, lanky Djokovic type of a build, if you will, that I think plays a bit better with tennis. Whereas, Monfils is, not Monfils, Tsonga is more kind of the barrel chest, kind of your Stan Wawrinka, really strong, and I just always wonder about those types of guys in tennis, because to me that's not necessarily the ideal quote-unquote body type. So when you look back in history and you're looking at all of the champions like your Lindels and your Johnny Max, and they typically have a very slight build. You rarely see someone of Tsonga's kind of build that is considered one of the greats. And I know you've got a longer history than I do in the sport. Do you know of anybody else that's kind of his build that we consider to be one of the greats?
Well, the person that comes to mind for me is Becker.
Yeah.
But look at what happened to Becker. I mean, he did ended up suffering from some pretty major injuries, and I think he although he had a long career, I do think it was a little bit cut short. And he was also doing the Monfils type thing. He was diving on the ground and rolling around and stuff. So people don't, they've got to understand when they make these decisions to do that. And I understand when you're in the heat of the moment and in the middle of the battle.
Oh, yeah.
There are consequences.
Exactly.
You feel some of that stuff the next day. So
I'll associate it to music and Mariah Carey doing all that singing.
There you go.
That voice ain't as tight as it used to be. So
now she putting her finger in her ear even when she lip syncing.
All right.
So I'm gonna leave that alone.
We love you, Mariah, but yeah.
Okay,
exactly, man.
Okay, let's get back to the subject.
I know, right? We have gone all over the place.
Wait a minute, that's why we can't keep an episode to 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Like
we are trying. We are trying.
This is what we were telling CJ, our producer, about those tangents. CJ, if you're listening, this is what we're talking about.
This
those
what
tangents.
we're talking about. All right, so let's jump back in. We'll spend the next 20 minutes talking specifically about Gael Monfils and Joe Wilfried Tsonga.
So,
how about those juniors, man? How about their junior career?
Well, I tell you what, it's very interesting because they both joined the professional tour the same year in 2004, although Tsonga is 2 years older than Monfils.
Right.
And when we look at their junior history, Monfils definitely had the more stellar junior career. And I don't even really remember hearing about Tsonga as a junior, although he did win the 2003 U.S. Open in the juniors, and he was ranked number 2 that year. But to be very honest with you, I rarely pay attention to the juniors anyway. There's normally enough stuff popping off in the professional tour that I don't need to go digging and seeing what the juniors are doing.
Exactly.
But Monfils had made so much noise because in 2004, when he was the number 1 ranked junior, he was on his way to winning the Grand Slam. He had won the Australian Open, the French Open, and Wimbledon in 2004, and it wasn't until Victor Trotsky got up on him in the 3rd round in the U.S. Open that he didn't pull that off. But there was a lot of talk about there was this very athletic French guy who happened to be black that was on the verge of pulling off this feat.
Right. Yep, and the same thing. That's kind of what I heard those rumblings around. I'm like, who are they talking about? That's a brother in the juniors doing some things?
Right.
But you're right. I don't feel like Tsonga got the shine on the junior circuit because of that. Because I think that so much exposure and or focus was on Gael because of, the results he was pulling in. But can't sleep on Tsonga though.
Right, and well deserved though, Monfils too. I mean that he was really doing it there. But see, I think this is where they talk a lot of the times about there is a difference between the junior tour and the professional tour. And whereas Tsonga probably had a more workman type of mentality to his tennis playing, I think Monfils was at a level above the other juniors. He was able to play that very entertaining counterpuncher style against his competition there and still win. I don't know that played as well once he got to the professional.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Level. I mean, it was the same thing and not to go off on another tangent, but Andy Murray, we were saying kind of that same thing about him earlier in his career. Is he playing too much defense? Be more offensive. And I think Monfils is trying to do a little bit of that now. Unfortunately, it's much later in his career. But Tsonga, on the other hand, Tsonga will be putting the ball on blast.
Right. And you know what? And just to put it back out there again, our listeners are well aware of my love for Tsonga. The only person I vote against Tsonga on is Roger Federer. But although I love both Monfils and Tsonga, that was the difference for me. I had a greater appreciation for Tsonga really going out there with the big serve, the big ground strokes, had the touch at the net, was athletic. Monfils was equally as athletic, if not maybe even a little more athletic than Tsonga. But I've never been a huge fan of that counterpuncher style. And I always felt like he couldn't give 100% playing that style of tennis.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with you, bro. I completely agree with you. And like I said, I think we would be sitting here saying a lot of different things about his career if he had adapted to more of an aggressive style coming out of the juniors, getting into the pro tour. But again, he's fast. I think his coach even went on record as saying, if he weren't playing tennis, he'd probably end up, winning the 100-yard dash. He could be another Usain Bolt or something like that. And honestly, I believe that could definitely be the case. He is literally that fast.
Yes.
But it's just, with tennis, you've got to you've got to play certain ways in order to beat certain people, and I just don't think he was able to adapt, especially against the big four. Whew.
No, no.
Rough times,
No.
rough times.
So let's talk about how their career has been so far. So
Yeah.
it's it's very difficult for players right now, or on the men's circuit, um, because anybody that's playing in this, and I'm gonna just call it right now, this Big Three era,
Mm-hmm.
it has been extremely tough to get a Grand Slam title when you've got Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer there. I think the only people, like basically during their reign, who has won a Grand Slam title is, I know Wawrinka's won three. I think
Yep.
Andy Murray has won three. I think Chilich has won. I think Del
Mhm.
Potro has won. Is there anybody else?
Not that I can think of offhand.
And so this is probably over the last what, 15 years?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
I mean, so
yeah, because Federer started getting live about 2004 time frame. Yeah, so yeah, that's about right.
right. So and so my thing is, where I initially want to say, well, you know, Monfils and Tsonga, neither one of them have won a Grand Slam title. I have to kind of keep that, I got to keep my mind focused on, remember the time they're in. There's a lot of really, really. We always talk about David Ferrer, and
Right. Yep.
how many would he have won, especially maybe even at the French. But all that being said, they have had good careers in terms of career prize money. Monfils so far has won about $19 million, and Tsonga has won about $22 million. Monfils is currently, his highest ranking has been as high as number 6.
Yep.
Tsonga has been as high as number 5. Monfils is currently ranked number 9, so he is in the top 10, which is great, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute. And Tsonga is currently 49. Now, we have to explain, Tsonga has recently come back, from a major injury, so his ranking had dropped, but he's been playing some good tennis as of late before the tours were halted due to the coronavirus. So that 49 is a little misleading right now, but, Isaac, talk to us about how Monfils has started off 2020, though.
Man, that food done started out on fire. Look, seriously, bro. I've been extremely impressed with his 2020, and it's really unfortunate that this pandemic has come up for him specifically, because again, when you're on a roll like he was on, you want that to keep going. He won 2 titles pretty much back to back and made it to the semifinals of Dubai, where he was a set and a tiebreaker away from getting his first victory on Novak Djokovic, and just, playing what I consider to be some of the best ball I've seen him play, Grand Slam level tennis, and unfortunately just couldn't close the door. And Djokovic
Yep.
equals clutch,
Right.
and he was like, "Yep, I'm gonna get number 17 on you," and that's what he did. And so, but still, I think that he is playing kind of what we're talking about. He's playing a style that is a bit more aggressive. He knows kind of when to apply his defensive skills, but I feel like he's really kind of showing a lot of the variety in his game, and it's been pretty pleasing to see, bro. It's been nice, but we'll see how he is once we finally get back out there and folks are able to compete. Hopefully, he will not have lost the edge that I feel like he gained by getting all these wins earlier this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little nervous of, is that he's going to lose some of that momentum that he had going. This was starting off to maybe be the best season of his career. But, it's the same for everybody. So it's not just Monfils is off.
Right.
Everybody is off right now. So,
Right.
hopefully he can bring that back.
Yeah,
Um,
and hopefully this will aid in for Tsonga. I think it's a really good thing because
yes,
with him kind of coming back from injury, it gives him more time to fully heal up, and hopefully he can come back and really be close to 100%, if not 100%, so he can effectively play his game. Because Tsonga is always dangerous. I mean, that
yes,
brother is, whoo, my goodness.
yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what I love about him because nobody wants to play him. He is a
Mm-mm.
threat to win every single match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, one of the things I like about us talking about Monfils and Tsonga is that it's widely known that they are very good friends. I mean,
Yes.
they have been playing together since they were young kids,
Yep.
and they know
Yep.
each other very well, and they call each other brothers for life. And although they're not blood siblings like Venus and Serena, you love to see that kind of connection uh,
Absolutely.
between, well, for me, especially someone of African descent, but anytime you see any of the two players, I even love seeing Rafa and Roger,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
relationship that they have.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the things that I've always wanted, for whatever reason, I guess doubles has never really been Monfils' thing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted, Monfils and Tsonga to play doubles. Could you imagine them as a doubles
What?
team?
Yeah, but did they not play doubles in one of the Olympics though? I thought maybe they had, but maybe not. Okay.
No, I think he played with. I think Tsonga played with Loitra.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because and Tsonga actually has 4 doubles titles, and
Right.
Monfils doesn't have any.
Mm-mm.
I had hoped that they would have even played doubles in Davis Cup, but the French guys have always had some really good double specialists.
Oh, whew, boy, have they. Yeah.
Yeah, so that as a matter of fact, that 2017 Davis Cup uh, that they won, Monfils was not on that team.
Wow. Interesting.
Tsonga was, but Monfils wasn't. So I don't know if it's just well, it can't be situational because he would have some data
Right.
if he wanted to play doubles. So I think Monfils sees himself strictly as kind of a singles player.
Yeah. And I wonder if it says something as well, Bryce. And this is just a off the wall comment, but because they're French, maybe it's because, we pay so much attention to race and color in the United States. Maybe it's basically because they're French. That's not something that they consider to be as important. You know what I mean? Because you
Mm,
would think that even like you think about an Olympic coach or a Davis Cup coach, they probably want to put two brothers together. If we had two brothers of Tsonga and Monfils' quality in the States, you'd want to put them together just to show it. Similar to how we love seeing Venus and Serena
right.
together playing doubles. And I wonder if it speaks to the fact that for the French, race really isn't that much of an issue over there as it is in the States.
Well, I think you're 100% right. I mean, race is probably the biggest differentiator here in the United States of any place.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and unfortunately, those are the lenses that we're looking through. Um, but I also look at it from the standpoint of just the level of athleticism from
Oh
both
yeah.
of them. I just think it would be tough to get a ball by, above, around them. They would run everything down. Yeah, I just would have
Uh-huh.
loved to have seen that.
Oh, it would have been awesome. It would have been definitely a spectacle because they would have showed out. They would have
Right,
showed
right. It would have been a whole lot of living color on that court.
Right?
Believe that. So
Oh man.
so let's talk about how they have done in the majors. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, from so from what I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
how would you? Let's go major by major. So for the Australian Open, uh, the
Yeah.
Monf-
Yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
Monfils has made it as far as the quarterfinals,
Yep.
but Tsonga made it to the finals in 2008, and the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I want to highlight that one is because it was in that final, even though he lost to Djokovic, and there's no shame in losing to Djokovic, and let's not forget he gave Nadal 2 whole biscuits in that semifinal.
That's right.
But that was really what I thought was going to be Tsonga's coming out party. I thought after that final at the Australian Open, then we were just going to see Tsonga be a beast, a perennial top 5. And honestly, I think he had I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he had a fairly major injury not too long after that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I believe I remember that as well, Bryce. I can't put my finger on what it was, but yeah, I think there was some type of an injury that kind of crept in there.
Right.
Derailed him for a bit. Mm-hmm.
And then you have their home slam, the French Open, and we know there's always that pressure of playing in front of the home crowd. Monfils made it to the semifinals in 2008, where he lost in 4 sets to Federer. No
Right.
shame in that. And Tsonga has made it twice to the semis in 2013 and 2015.
Yep. And see, that's where I say the brothers, they don't crack under home pressure. They do their thing.
Right.
I mean, when you got someone, though, like Roger and, I should say Rafa first because it's Clay.
Right.
And Roger, it's going to be tough. Like you said earlier, it's, with this generation that they came up in, it's always going to be tough to scratch out, a Grand Slam. But, hey, for them to, both reach the semifinals and for Tsonga to get there twice, that speaks volumes to the fact that they can play with pressure and still do well.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have Wimbledon, where Tsonga has made the semifinals twice in 2011 and 2012. And like I said, as much as I love Tsonga,
right,
it absolutely killed me when he beat Federer that year.
You're right. It stung initially, but when I look back on it, I'm so proud of him for that. Because honestly, that to me was, and not to drive this or take this over to the Federer zone, but to me, Federer was being stubborn in that match. And he basically was like, I'm not going to change my tactic. And Joe Fufu was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and beating you down. And
Right.
That's exactly what he did from 2 sets to love down. Came back and was like, walk off, son. Walk off. 'Cause it's my victory.
Right.
It's mine today. This is mine.
He did.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that.
Go ahead.
I understand. Yeah, because I guess it's kind of the way I feel with Venus Serena, right? If Serena wins, I feel bad for Venus, but
Right.
It's
still, yeah, exactly. Yep.
So now I am a little surprised. Well, no, I'm gonna take that back. I was getting ready to say I'm a little surprised that Monfils has not done better than the 4th round at Wimbledon. And the reason why I said that initially, or I was thinking I was going to feel that way, was because I keep thinking about the level of athleticism. And I know that is rewarded on a grass court. But if you were playing a counter-punching style, you're really kind of you're contradicting or conflicting having all this physical ability.
Exactly. And the one thing, Bryce, is Gael skipped Wimbledon a lot. And I think it was because of that, with what you just said, and the fact that his mind wasn't right. He didn't embrace the fact that you needed to be aggressive, to highlight that athleticism that he has. He didn't embrace it, and so therefore he just didn't want to play it. So there were a lot of times where he just skipped Wimbledon. I was like, okay, because he could have really showed out at Wimbledon if he had embraced that aggressive style.
And that's where sometimes in my mind I equate Monfils to Kyrgios.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Kyrgios, although to me Kyrgios sometimes has a little more of a negative taint on it. It's this whole like I want to win or I want to play like how I enjoy playing. It's not necessarily I need to play how I need to play to win.
Right.
And being very stubborn on the court, and honestly, just like I've said before on some of our podcasts, I don't think Nick Kyrgios cares one bit about being number one in the world or being in
No.
record books or whatever. If he
Nope.
can make enough coins so that he can floss at the club on Friday night,
See,
and he is good.
Exactly.
He is good. Monfils,
Yeah.
I think, is similar to that. Maybe not so much about the club piece, but I don't know that I have seen from Monfils the whole like, I want to be number one in the world. I want to be this or that. Now, honestly, and I think most people know he's in this relationship with Svitolina, and there's been a lot of comments that they have both kind of helped each other's game.
Right.
But I'm thinking that maybe she could be really showing him that, you know what, babe, you could have done a lot more if you had taken this a lot more seriously. And I think you're starting to see that a little bit with him now.
Agree. Completely agree. Yeah. I think his focus has definitely changed. And again, he's embracing. I think he also is kind of seeing that, he's on that back end of his career. So it's like, I better do a little surge right now because, before I know it, I'm going to be waving goodbye.
Well, and my mom has always said that she feels that Monfils one day is going to look back at his career and have some regret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I agree with Mama Nancy.
Yeah, and I don't think Tsonga is going to have that same type of regret. I think Tsonga may be disappointed that he got injured as much as he did, but you always pretty well. I hope I say you always get 100% from Tsonga. That ain't true because I haven't seen him tank. So I'm saying, but he initially comes out and gives you 100%. I have seen some matches where Tsonga's been like, "Oh, it ain't my day today."
Right? He's like,
"Can we go ahead and get this done?" But
exactly. But you don't see that a lot, though.
No, you don't see that a lot at all.
Nope.
And then to round this out with the U.S. Open, Monfils has made it to the semifinals, where in 2016 he lost in 4 sets to Novak.
Right.
And then Tsonga has made it to the quarterfinals in the U.S. Open. So they have gone very deep. And
absolutely.
All of the majors, and I just wonder, because once again, I don't have these stats in front of me. I know there's a couple of listeners out there saying, well, dude, why didn't you get prepared? But I wonder how many times in these Grand Slams when they lost, did that loss come from Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, or Federer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in a good majority of those instances, that was the case. Yeah. And like I said, and it goes to, again, the Big Four's dominance. I mean, they broke a lot of folk down. I mean, they caused Andy Roddick to leave the game. He was just like, I can't beat these hoes. They make me sick. I hate them. And, I mean, you got folk like Milos and Nishikori. They just beat them down. They came at the wrong time. I feel like this new crop is coming at the right time. But, yeah, the other ones, it's tight on them. And like I said, that's where Gael and Tsonga sit. They just came at the wrong time. When you've got, Novak, Federer, Nadal, and like I said, you got to throw Stan and Andy in there. Them 5, whew, that's a rough pack to get through.
It is, and actually, combined against the Big Four, Roger, Nadal, Novak, and Murray, Monfils is 8-45 for a winning percentage of 15%. Now, Tsonga fared a little bit better. He is, against those same 4, he's 18-52 for a 25% winning percentage. But either one of those would be considered low.
Exactly.
And Monfils got, and the big eyesore there is Monfils has that goose egg of 0-17 against Novak.
Novak is like, nah, son.
He
almost did it though. He almost did it this year. I was so into that match, and Yeah, he just couldn't pull it off, and then unfortunately get a little bit injured in that third set, and then that was that.
At least Tsonga has beaten Roger and Novak 6 times each.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
so and once again, because I think a difference in Tsonga's game versus Monfils' game is Tsonga can. We hear people say, "Take the racket out your hand."
Right.
He can hit you off the court. It can be like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I can hit you off the court. We've never really seen Monfils that often. It's rare that you see him hit somebody off the court. To me, Monfils typically outlasts somebody than hits them off the court.
Right. And that's the thing, though, Bryce. He has the capability, though. Monfils can hit some big shots. I have seen some shots that, like Del Potro, where it's like the wind throws your hair back. It's like, good God. I mean, he has hit some shots, because he's a showman anyway. So he'll smack a ball, and it's just like, dude, you've got so much power right there. Why are you not being more aggressive? And again, I think it's just the mindset, and it's how he enjoys playing. So it goes back to kind of what we were talking about. He enjoys that counter punching style, but unfortunately, that's not winning tennis when you get against the Big Five.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we wrap this up, because I'm noticing we're like at the 35-minute mark
already. Right? Dang it!
We're just too long-winded. We're just way too long-winded.
Sorry, folks.
We've said a lot.
We are going to do this. We're going to do it, Bryce.
Right.
We're going to do it.
But we've said that there are a lot of similarities in the results that they've had. I just wanted to highlight a few things, though, that Tsonga has been able to do in his professional career that Monfils has yet to do. Mm-hmm. Number one, Tsonga in 2011 was actually made it to the finals of the year-ending championships. Mm-hmm. And Monfils has never made it out of the round robin phase.
Right.
In 2014, Tsonga with Cornet won the Hopman Cup. But we knew Monfils wasn't going to play that because he knew he'd have to play doubles.
Exactly.
In 2017, when France won the Davis Cup, Tsonga was on that team, but Monfils was not.
Right. I do remember that, too. That was kind of weird.
Right. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was that Tsonga does have an Olympic medal. In 2012, he got the silver medal, losing to the Bryan brothers in the finals. Mm-hmm. So, and Monfils does not have a medal. So, Tsonga has a few more accomplishments, but overall their professional careers have been, pretty similar.
Right. Yeah, no, the brothers have done their thing. I mean, that's just great to see. The fact that, again, even in the day and age of Federer, Novak, and Nadal, that the brothers still were able to get, some titles, get their coins, and really have some really nice accomplishments.
Right. And you know what? And as we hopefully get tennis back sometime in the next year, right. They're currently right now, 33 and 35. So they're kind of at that age where, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I'm not really sure that they are realistic contenders for a Grand Slam title. But, if Monfils can come back and pick up the way he started in the beginning of 2020, he gets a good draw and maybe there's some upsets. You have that. If Tsonga can get on fire and, kind of tear through a draw, it's possible. But even without either one of them winning a Grand Slam title, I think you'll have to look at both of their careers as having been very successful.
Absolutely. Completely agree, bro. Yeah, like I said, they've done some great things, and I think France is proud of them. I know that people of color, we are proud of them. So, hey, keep doing their thing.
Keep doing it. And, once again, we want to thank Butter1224 for giving us this recommendation of doing this episode. I know Isaac and I have enjoyed it. These are two of our favorites. And we invite other listeners, if there is a particular topic or players or a certain event that you'd like Isaac and myself to discuss and debate or talk about on an episode, shoot us a message on our website or any of our social media platforms. Isaac, any final words from you today?
Nah, man, just really happy that we talked about this. And Butter, thank you so much for bringing this up. And go Gael, go Tsonga. We love you both.
There you go. So, from Brothers on Tennis, we're signing off. This is your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And you guys stay very safe out there. Good night.